When I was a boy, my brother and I used to get in a lot of trouble together. We'd be doing something that we should not have been doing and possibly break something. My mother would try to investigate the problem, but she'd ask the question, well, who did it? And my brother and I, we would point our fingers at each other and just blame each other by saying something like, well, he made me do it, or he made me do it, or he did it, something like that. It was the blame game. But it has its roots right in the Garden of Eden. When Satan tempted Eve and Adam to partake of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, let me see if these verses don't jog your memory. The Lord asked Adam and Eve, have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat? And Adam responded, the woman who you gave me to be with me, she gave me the fruit of the tree and I ate. Then Eve responded, hey, the serpent deceived me and I ate. So what is the problem with all this? It is that no one took personal responsibility for their actions. We have the same problem today in our world. You might ask, what does this have to do with our emotional struggles since we're looking at emotional wellness? Well, possibly more than you may think. I had a family call me one time because they were having behavioral issues with their son, which included destructive behaviors such as drugs and running away from home. They thought that I might be able to help as they were at the end of their rope with the whole situation, and they called me and asked me to meet with this kid. So I sat down with the young man and discussed the issue with him. I asked him some questions as to why he did the things that concerned his parents. Right away, I sensed his attitudes of anger and a deep-rooted bitterness. And as I spoke with him further, he explained that he felt neglected and wanted attention. In other words, he justified his improper behaviors by blaming his parents. The only problem was that he was the one who decided how to handle the feeling of neglect with unbiblical behaviors and was unwilling to take responsibility for them. Now, this is a typical pattern in emotional issues. Unfortunately, the refusal to take personal responsibility for one's actions can lead to a continual downward spiral in life. And this can result in behavioral disorders and deeply rooted emotional issues. This is not an isolated case either. I counseled a young woman one time who said she felt like garbage. She was totally discouraged with life. And she was dealing with despair, bitterness, and guilt. Her problem was that she rebelled against her parents and engaged in drugs and alcohol abuse and sexual immorality. She blamed all this on her mother. Then I asked her a simple question. Who decided to participate in all those things, the drugs, the alcohol, rebellion, and sex? You or your mother? Then she sheepishly said, well, I did. And saying this, by taking personal responsibility, it was the point of her breakthrough. She confessed her sins to the Lord and came to saving faith in Jesus. This was the beginning of a new life for her. Paul wrote to the Romans that each of us will give an account of himself to God. You see, people must take personal responsibility for their responses to the situations they experience in life. Often their improper responses, their improper choices, can lead them in a downward spiral to behavioral and emotional disorders. Confession in these cases is the first steps towards behavior on emotional healing in their lives. So we need to think about our actions. And often, things that happened in the distant past have created issues that persist in the present.